You have your Premier League teams that really improve season on season. Then you've got your big teams who are in crisis at the moment. There are 3 in the relegation zone with ownership troubles. But there's one club that fits in between that, which is Fulham, who have been plodding along very nicely in the Premier League until now, where Marco Silva's team just sit above the relegation zone, have scraped their way past Wickham on a penalty shootout victory, and have spent big money on Emil Smith-Rowe and also Kevin, leaving me today wanting to take over Fulham because I want to get them fit and proper all over the field and make them consistent with a Champions League title. As yes, people, here we go. Fulham in career mode. Now, I have used life points and I didn't realise how many injuries they've truly got. Maybe explaining the struggle, and this is a life point after the game they played, which they lost against Newcastle in the last minute, Bruno Guimaraes, which unfortunately I can't replicate, same as the Wickham game. That's just going to happen. And we can keep our fingers crossed that Fulham maybe win both of them games, as I do have unexpected events on. However, if you've seen this channel before, you know I like to do contracts, and for this rebuild, no contract at all. We've just got to rebuild them and make them better. Players like Anthony Robinson getting no younger, which I never realised. Leno, the captain of the club, is 33. Tom Kearney's old, who is the proper captain. Calvin Bassey's not been up to scratch this season. Of course, I think he will come good. And Emil Smith-Rowe has his potential dropped because obviously he is not at the heights he once was put at. And yeah, for a club that spends wisely, not many bright sparks coming out of this team. But they do have this man, Josh King, who looks like a future superstar. I honestly can see him being the new Bellingham. If he continues to progress at the rate he is doing, this man has a ceiling like no other. As we are entering halfway through the season, so that 49 million cannot be spent. However, can be taken off of us because obviously life points enabled. And Marco Silva still in charge, but I am going to allow myself to change the tactical shape, hopefully keeping us in the Premier League. And this is the formation I had in mind before actually starting this video, the 4-3-3 or 4-3-2-1, sounding like I'm counting down, and it is a disguised 4-1-4-1 with Lukic being the holder. I want all the midfield kind of attacking or defending from the front because it'll be Sander Berge and someone else. Tom Kearney could go in that gap, as I'm going to try and get this team all together actually, like so. And when you take injuries out of it, almost not even a full team, as on the bench and in the reserves, all injuries, we have to remove 2 bench players to even play a game. And yes, I got to put Jimenez up front. But the strikers at Fulham are poor. We've got Joan Kusiasare, Rodrigo Muniz, who has dropped off a little bit since his last big spell of form, and then Jimenez, unfortunate injury, and now he is 34. I think it'll be the first position I'll look at, as Kevin's going to be our cam, if we can get him on it, as there is some players that are kind of phased out of my plans. Adama Traore doesn't fit. Harry Wilson, very harsh on him. But as I said, Fulham looking at an awkward spot. We need to make some rash decisions to keep this team in the Premier League and keep this team competitive on paper. Jeez, and what a fall off from some of them other clubs. Brentford, Everton and Sunderland almost down. The glory days wore off for them because they've had a terrific start to the season, but we haven't, and it continued to slump. 38 points with only 8 wins, and we didn't win the FA Cup, which is a shame. It's the Carabao actually that's still going, isn't it, which Fulham are doing well in. Crystal Palace beat us. Oh my days, and in this reality, Wickham actually beat Fulham by 4 on penalties, which could have happened IRL. This man missing a penalty who goes back, Kusiasare, from his loan from Bayern Munich, as this squad, it looks a mess. Lecomte comes back in. I'm going to put Robinson ahead of Sessegnon, and King, not much growth. Not much growth from the man who I thought would grow during our awful season, as I have got loads of coaches about to progress him. But yeah, he's not worked out. Maybe we get some more youth around him, as that's where I wanted to fix up the team, in the middle of the park, as Harry Wilson to a cam. That is good. Put him on a 6-week training drill. Maybe he could survive at the club, as Josh King to a centre mid. Iwobi's gone to a cam alongside Kevin, so them two compete. Although I'd like it to be Kevin starting, and when I say I need another midfielder, Sasa Lukic can only play DM, and Sander Berge is more of a DM. And I think them two lads playing too deep could negatively affect our chances. If there's one positive, however, from this season, Smith-Rowe is a lot better. Being our top scorer, a +4, 12 goals. That's the Arsenal one we hoped would have turned up. But Jimenez 11 goals from a striker ain't good enough. The changes come in the next season with Fulham, as this has been a quick one, and if you want to do me a quick favour, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 70,000 subscribers as the objectives hike up, finishing a Europa League spot after just guaranteeing safety. Has Marco Silva ever been close to doing that? I feel like he hasn't at the other clubs he's been at. Maybe once he was with Fulham when Muniz was on form at £77 million. However, this might be the season this man is replaced. 25-year-old, that's kind of a cutout for potential. I cannot see him going higher than maybe an 82. However, he's lucky because the midfield is worse. We need players to actually play in the positions in the centre of the park. Them two just ain't good enough. For the plans that I have in place, the club captain Tom Kearney getting too old. Kevin's down here in the reserves. We cannot be having that. Also, Sessegnon submitted a transfer request, and I don't want him losing too much potential. Then again, Anthony Robertson's better, and he's actually only 2 years older. Something I didn't expect. The defence is old. And of course, I spoke about the goalkeepers. 35, 34, Steven Bender, 27. Raul Jimenez, I've transfer listed myself, 35 himself. He just needs to get out of the club, man. Get a fresh start, play at a lower level, and pick up some form, as I feel guilty Tom Kearney being the first I sold. Being a person I've met, and Auxerre, the team he goes to, less than 1 million. A new start in France. Is that Sasa Lukic? Doesn't look like he does in the picture. He's going to be the next Fred at Fenerbahce. With Raul Jimenez to Ipswich Town, I think that's a solid move in the Championship. A solid striker for them, as now we don't need too much money. I'd like to sell Sander Berge, but 100 mil as it stands is enough to get that centre mid, and this time, an out-and-out central one. Not someone who plays CDM, as Valentin Barco would be perfect, but the Chelsea links with Strasbourg, I don't see us getting any Strasbourg players. Being their rivals, but maybe because we sold Tom Kearney to Auxerre, they could do the repeat favour, giving us Kevin De Noy, who looks incredible, and it's only a fraction of the money we have. And the reason being because Sander Berge was involved in the swap deal. Another unwanted player, and Reed, he's going to be the backup. I'm going to trust another veteran to actually stay here because we did sell Tom Kearney in a big move away for the club captain, but we've made a big move inwards, signing for almost 66 million Orkun Koiku. It's about time he got a move to the Premier League, and that is our midfield sorted, because I'm definitely trusting Josh King to start, meaning the defence is what we actually work on. You're a lucky boy, Muniz. I figured because he's Brazilian and we've got Kevin on the bench, we could get a potential link up there in the future. As for now, I'm going to go over to Hilvente and pick up a Brazilian shot stopper. And I don't know what I'm doing. I actually don't know what I'm doing here. Joking, I am. Well, I hope I do. Kevin, anyway, I've loaned him out to Bayer Leverkusen. It was a snap decision. I've done it. As you can see, Koiku is the best player. There's one real positive here, and that is Smith Rowe. Absolutely loving it. Whilst I'm controlling this team, getting growth from Muniz. And the new goalkeeper who's played one game or grown one, Andrew. King, I saw, was getting a good rating, but the best player in the team overall, Koiku. And that's funny because he's the midfielder in the middle who shouldn't be going forward. Then 14 goals for Muniz, and I think the goal scoring told me we were safe, as this is the team I've trusted. The ex-Arsenal lads supporting Rodrigo. King in the midfield, now 77 overall. Brilliant. Koiku at the side of him. This new three-man midfield just looks so clean and crisp for Fulham. It should be working. If we keep getting it right, then we've got Tete, who's old, Anderson, both over 30. I think you know what's happening next season. And Bert Leno might actually get sold as well, because we do have Bender, who can go on that bench, and Andrew straight into the 11. And also, if you think Muniz is safe because he's scored the most goals in the league, you might have noted as well, we only have him as a striker here, meaning we need a striker backup for the position as well as the quality as we finish 11th. Solidarity in mid-table. West Ham still down in meltdown. We've got Burnley, Ipswich and Borough going down, so Jimenez doesn't survive and we don't get into the Europa League as the board wanted, as it was the rivals, god damn it. And then Forest, FA Cup. I'd love a domestic trophy. I would love it. It's a derby loss. The furthest thing from a domestic trophy is a domestic throbbing at the hands of your locational rivals, as it even happens again. In the Carabao, we lose to Spurs. Oh well, with every negative becomes a positive in Season 3 because Kevin's back. I would like him to play more than Alex Iwobi, but will he? Probably not. And we're focusing on that right-hand side of defence because King is one of the weakest, but King is the king of Fulham. Zero chances moving, but with the budget moving downwards, 64 million to spend. We might have to be shrewd with our defenders that we're bringing in. We've got 27 players as well, so we can get rid of some to get some in. And as much as it pains me to do, the new captain, Joachim Andersen, is the oldest, is the weakest. We have Diop, we have Quensa, who can grow, so he continues his journeyman career in the Premier League with Bournemouth. And adds to our budget, was it 15 million? I didn't check his price. I just know I had to sell him. And I understand it's another veteran down, so I'm actually not going to go for a too younger player to replace him because, like I said, that midfield we've got is strong but young, so we need some experience. And that experience is Loic Bade, who comes in to partner Bassi because I thought with Kevin going out on loan to Leverkusen, he could bring him back over because that's where we found this man. I believe he's there in real life. As I also know, he was at Sevilla over in Spain, so an ultimate journeyman. As the next one out, Timothy Castagna, another Premier League veteran who is gone. It seems like we're kicking them all out, but now, well, I spotted this guy, James Brown, an American, to go on the other side of Robinson. But no, we actually can't afford him, but there's another American over in the Eredivisie. I am going to take on who's kind of a veteran as well because he's been at Barcelona. Serginho Dest, 88 pace, and I love that we've got the American link up on either of our wings now because they are our wings, not just our fullbacks. As I'm going to push them forward, as you can see, into wing-back shapes. They shouldn't be going centrally, but they are. I think it's because they're on support roles. With one player who supported us last season, the youngster, who's not on our bench anymore. He was on loan from Bayern, or actually, it was 2 seasons ago. Jonah Kusiasare, who's affordable, now 20, and has improved enough for me to actually give him the shot as our backup. As it's such a new feeling being able to go in for a player we had before, him grow away from the club, and then come back and grow less. Maybe not a good feeling. I thought it was. The rest of the team is very good. We've got a 90 rated Okun and then 2 great midfielders aside of him. Andrew now playing +4. Robinson still going up, but he's 30 with Sessegnon in support. Not bad. Diop has made it clear he doesn't want to be here. Transfer list, he goes. 284 defenders anyway, and a goal scorer in Rodrigo Muniz. A lack of goals by Kevin, but he's still outgrown the 32-year-old Alex Iwobi. And we do have a decision to make still. Muniz, he's scoring, but do we keep him as a starter? Do we knock him down to the substitute man? Because I just think another big striker would make the world of difference, as when you look at the Premier League, we need it too. This is another dire season. Newly promoted Brentford go above us. They fly like a bee. And then we were clear of relegation by a long shot, but still. I hate that finish for Fulham. Just when the squad is coming together. And at least we have positive movement outside of that transfer market, as a 2-1 win means a domestic trophy secure. And the FA Cup, I believe, is Europa. Carabao is Conference. Europa is FA Cup win. I hope I'm not being exposed for ball knowledge. I do watch a lot of 4th tier football, more so than the first and the domestic trophies, as 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur in the Carabao. And I think that makes my mind up on Muniz, actually. We do need a striker for Europe, and we need some quality going on that bench. As budget time, the budget bell is ringing. 75 mil. Didn't we have that in Season 1 when we finished in 16th as well? And I don't get it. This time we're in Europe and they want the European spot again. Maybe it's because we did it through the Cup. They want us to win the Cup again and win the Europa this year. It's weird how they want us to go into Europe, then get into Europe through winning Europe. It's weird. It's very weird. Wembley Stadium against Newcastle for the Com Shield, which I'd love to win, and I'd love to sign that striker straight off the bat if we can do it. As you know, Chelsea always sell to Arsenal. Arsenal always sell to Fulham. Maybe we can see if the Gunners have got anybody available for us to take. As yes, they finished above us, but still, they have quality in depth, these lads. I hate to say it, as Endricht, Gyökeres, Kabia, and Kane. Oh my days. Harry Kane, ex-Tottenham Hotspur, is at Arsenal in a Gunners shirt. I can't believe I'm actually seeing that without actually controlling it and making it happen myself. Now, I would go for him if he was younger. But yeah, sorry, we need someone younger, and I don't think we're bringing Kane to a 16th place side. Leaving us no choice but to go abroad, and Kawa Elias, another Brazilian, who is not as good as Muniz, will play behind him, but I'm willing to give him a chance. They're both Brazilian, we'll learn off one another, and I think he will grow ahead of Muniz after he rightly gets his chance to shine in the Europa. This man will be his backup, as I can put him in the starting 11 for now though. And another cheeky link up is not only the Brazilian link with Kevin, but the K link and the link from over in Shakhtar Donetsk, where they both played together as Diop's going, and I can't seem to get a bid in for him. So thanks, Issa Diop. Your loyalty means Fulham lose almost 2 million on you. Why couldn't you have just got a bid? As hopefully Jorge Cuenza doesn't cause the same issues as the next issue we have is a midfielder to go behind our strong three. Sorry, Harrison Reed, you look so goddamn out of place, as Tete can go right there. Harry Wilson's really worked his way into the squad, being patient and being good, as Kevin Castaño will have to do the same to replace Badoy, King, or Koiku, because Kevin isn't the Kevin we already have. This man is a little bit weaker. Okay, and these striking options really improved on what we had at the start. Muniz was here already, now still the best, just ahead of Kawa Elias. Then the other young prospect, Jonah Kusiasare, is up there, but up there as a start in our team is Orkun Koiku, 93 overall, followed up by the Americans. Then we've got Kevin, then we've got ASR. I was going to say M and R at the same time then, but it's Emil Smith-Rowe, as Kevin gets the most goal contributions, then Muniz, then Koiku, Denai, King, Kawa Elias with 5 in 6. Why has he only played that many games when there is European football going on? But it looks like he may have played the last game. But this team is overall brilliant. We've got King at an 84, 85 Dornar, Koiku in the middle. Unbelievable, unbelievable. And if we can go for Europe again through the Premier League, because I still know the strong teams in the Europa, which may not get us in it next time, but it doesn't matter. Skip the Europa. Champions League football for Fulham, just by a point over the Toon, who we did play in the Community Shield, and they beat us at the start of the season, but this season is over 50 games long, and we got the better of the Black and Whites in the Premier League, as now, come on, oh my days, this cup run was horrific. Didn't even get started, losing to Leeds United. No title retention on the FA Cup, and then the Carabao, Everton on penalties. Fair enough. Did we focus on Europe? Well, obviously not, because we took 2 defeats and 2 draws in the league phase, and plus we did a lot better in the Premier League. I'm forgetting that, but a decent finish right there. And then Olympique Lyonnais, 5 goals to 2 in the round of 16. Before Shakhtar, where we've got 2 ex-boys in Kelvin and Kawa Elias. Keep wanting to say the wrong names. But yeah, maybe we take another look at them, because they have some really decent players over there in the Ukrainian League. And Arsenal 6-3. That's absolutely brilliant. And then when we go to the Europa League final, there is 2 avenues to the Champions League, because Fulham have gone and brought the Europa League back to the cottage. As I've got one-way flights, not one-way flights, that's a term of speech, 2-way flights. I want to come back to Fulham, but I am going to check on Shakhtar and this team, which is doing brilliantly. King's still one of the lowest rated, which is kind of unfair because he was on catch-up from the start. Wanted him to reach Bellingham levels, as he's already won the Champions League. He's 94. Brilliant. And he's a cam still, so King isn't. Kind of incomparable when I've made that change. I could compare him to Rice, but then again, Rice is a CDM. I'm getting my comparisons wrong. Plus, we beat Rice with King in the lineup in the Europa League. Can't believe we actually did it, and that's 155 mil to spend, a significantly better budget, and the Super Cup we get to play in, where we'll face Barcelona, the best team in the Champions League, which we also enter. So this is going to be a challenge, but a challenge I'm fully up for. We like to win it first time, but this is one where I'm a bit iffy, because I'm going to trust my gut. They want us to obviously win the cup, do the board, but I'm going to trust my gut with 2 strikers at a similar level. I think Elias will get more game time, 23, 83 overall. Muniz is there, and then Kusi Asare could play the group stage games. And ratings overall, it's going to be really hard to force a player in here or into the starting 11. We'll definitely need a backup keeper, need a backup centre-back. Maybe, though, Bade could drop to the bench in the defence already. A really strong centre-half could make this team absolutely pop, and I am not replacing King. This video is about him, and rightly so, as if you haven't seen his goal against Wickham, I know they only won on penalties, but look it up for a surprise. As with Barcelona being over in La Liga, no, I'm not going to buy from them, but I'm going to check the league to check if there's a strong one here. In the centre of defence, and Logan Costa, I've never seen him so high in his rating, so I'll take him on. And also a huge congratulations to this man here. I recognise that flag, and that is the Cape Verde one, who have just qualified, I believe, for their first ever World Cup Finals tournament. So yeah, huge congrats, he's in the defence, and that is the team majority complete. Now waiting on another backup keeper and another backup cam. Very surprised with the lack of life points today. I do have them switched on, and I'm going to try and switch on to this budget. 58.1. That should be good enough. As a backup keeper should be easy. I'm going to America. I'm going to get Chris Brady. As I'm treating this like Football Manager, I'm having a core group of one nation players. Or scrap that too, because I'm going with USA and Brazilian overhauls in this Fulham squad as we go to Donetsk to sign Izakwe. Who is this guy? I said I'd visit the club, and I eventually did. A big spending spree. Yes, only on 3 players. But a huge thing I'm figuring out about career mode this year is squad growth, not in ratings, but the amount of players you have at a club can make a huge difference. Because yes, we've got 2.1 reserves here at the club, but these aren't getting played, nor are they going to push the team for game time immediately. So I feel safe for these. But if you've got a player, for example, like Quenza, who's a bit younger, maybe 78 rated, he would cause a fuss and try and storm his way into the team, as we've got them two that we signed on the bench, and then obviously in the main team, Costa, and a very solid one as well. It is the 90 rated club with Orkun Koiku at a 96, Kevin at a 91, submitted a transfer request when his friends just joined from his old club. Weird move, as goal scoring as well, he's done pretty fine to say he's unhappy chappy. 30 goals for him, 31 for Muniz, 22 for Koiku, and Caio Elias gets 2 in 8 games, but only 8 games of playing time. That's a madness, as the Premier League is as well, because we're dropping into the Conference League unless we did what we did when we were in the Europa last year, as we won that to get ourselves into the Champions League the long way. Or should I say the sneaky way, but still, we've not got the FA Cup back. A semi-final loss to Arsenal though, so we did come quite close. And the Carabao quite close, lost in the quarterfinals as West Ham won it over Tottenham in the finale, guess or not. And then in the Super Cup, FCSB. No, sorry, it's just FCB. FCSB's in Romania. I tried to do a thing again. I just cannot get abbreviations, although the channel is literally an abbreviation of my initials. My head's still fuzzy. If you haven't watched the previous videos, I'm in a bit of a ill state at the moment, a cold, as we are doing very cold in the Champions League. And cold as in Cole Palmer, good. As then we beat Milano in a comeback. Or they almost pulled off the comeback, but we do get revenge on FC Barcelona. 6-1, oh my days. And then we had to rely on penalties to beat Real and land us in a final against Leverkusen, which we've swapped players with. Loaned Kevin to them in the second season, bought Balde from them in the third, and now have to try and beat them as they're matching our formation, but not through the tactical side of things. As this should be a really fascinating watch. We have got an advantage. Old Trafford, I mean, it is in the north compared to down in London, but still Old Trafford. It shouldn't be in England, especially when there's an English team here. And we play their shape, but they do it through the formation. We shift to it through a tactical change. Although they're 3 at the back and we're 2 at the back, we do get our midfielders in a line, like the Amarin formation. We are at his home ground, and Koiku needs to perform here. We've got Dest coming forward. He's the inverted man who should be out on the wing, or should I say inverted forward, not inside, as Poku. This is a long chase by our number 7. Is that King with the captain's armband? I can't figure it out, but they're trying to get round us, and we chase them down, as now we're going to pass it out, and Koiku, that's a big slip. Victor Boniface wins it, and Tillman an American I looked at trying to sign. Whilst Kevin wasn't doing too well, I tried to sign him from Leverkusen in return. But Muniz with a return ball over to ESR. He gets it inside. It's Kelvin with a shot, and it's wide. So close. Might have scored goals, but he's not agile. And I knew I wasn't going to win that. Why did I run for it? Now Costa's got some covering to do. He can't really do it here. And what a goal, Victor Boniface. I thought we had the advantage by him being in England, but no. This finish is nothing short of goddamn phenomenal. This could be a long game if we're not careful. And there's Koiku again. We can't get that round the corner. There was a man in the way, but here we go. Denoy waits for Muniz. Muniz has run straight into Asoro. Gotta be better. And now Dest into Danoy. There was a ball through right there. Denoy runs inside a little bit into Koiku. Koiku with a pass inside. Second half looks brighter. Muniz, he looks very bright. The number 9 in the 49th minute with his 10th goal in 15 UCL games. Scores a blinder. We needed that after half time. He kind of juggles it. A little bit of LB dribbling gets him through. And Smith Rowe gives it into Danoy. Danoy needs to get inside again. Needs to pass it through the middle. That is a brilliant ping pass, but no. Osorio reads it. Poku now onto Palacios, and we're back to our defensive duties. We can make changes. I don't know why I've not done it. I've got Iwobi cooking up for Smith Rowe. Then we are going to put Cal Elias on up front for the goal scorer, Muniz, who hasn't been unrecognisable. He's been quite good, but not good enough. However, he could get a goal and an assist if it slips in the middle. The referees give a penalty anyway. And what is it truly for? I think we're not getting the replay because of the substitutions. And Koiku looked like he would score and does score from the spot. 10 minutes to go. The best player in this save for us does a weird celebration, but gets the goal that might lift the trophy. I wish I would have had him down as captain now as Iwobi. The nice ball roll. We've got fresh faces on the field. Muniz didn't even win the penalty. I'm glad we actually took him off. A spin out from Danoy onto Koiku, who can strike. Kanasheki, just easy. A game filled with shots, not great ones, but a lot of them. An entertaining comeback means Fulham will lift that UCL. And black and white ribbons. I even wore a black and white kit. I didn't realise it was Germany because playing Bayer Leverkusen, I shouldn't have had it on, but still, the jinx did not work in their favour. With Denoy, one of our first signings, lifting the trophy. Love to see it. Love the rebuilding Fulham. A little nice club in the Premier League I really do respect, although I do like Chelsea. Sorry to say that, Fulham fans, as if you do want another rebuild, if you're a Fulham fan or not, YouTube recommend you these two.